Hi ladies, welcome to Pathways to Fertility, a YouTube station dedicated to the women who are on the journey to conceive, particularly dedicated to the women who are on the hardcore journey to improve their well-being, to improve their egg quality, to conceive the baby of their dreams. I am Samantha Jacobs. I'm a licensed acupuncturist in Connecticut and New York. And for the last 23 years of my career, I have dedicated myself to helping women conceive the baby of their dreams. And my practice is heavily dedicated one-on-one with my patients. And with that one-on-one practice, I have heard and listened to the women who have come to me, and I've learned a lot about the journey that they have gone on. And I am going to be dedicating the next series of videos to all the women who've been in my practice, because I am going to be sharing what I've heard. And from my perspective, none of this is being shared out in the world. And that women who are on this really difficult road, and sorry ladies, if you've run on the journey for a couple of months, 5-6 months, you may be experiencing some of this, but this is really dedicated to the women who are on the long haul. This type of information isn't out there. And I am hopeful by sharing this, that getting the word out there, that if you are on the long haul, that you will feel some kind of relief in being recognized, and that you are being able to know that you are not alone in a lot of the feelings that you are experiencing. In my last video, I talked about two primary forms of stress. We have external stress, work stress, family stressors. We have cultural stressors. And then we have internal stressors. These can be like hormonal issues related to PCOS, and they can be issues such related to anxiety or depression. It can also be coping skills that we learned as children that don't work so well as adults. It can be all these different layers coming together, and they collide, thus creating stress inside of our bodies. And just to sort of remind ourselves, as these layers of stress present, our bodies start to perceive that stress as a potential threat to our well-being. And then the body says to itself, you know what? Maybe what we should do is be more concerned for our own well-being and down-regulate the fertility. And so there's always a concern, especially as women move into the long-term trying to conceive, that there may be a component of layered stress potentially impacting their fertility. So that's just in a nutshell what that last video was about. And that last video is just about those two components. In the long-term journey of infertility, there is a slew of stressors. And I decided I would create individual videos for each one of those issues. Today, we're going to be talking about uncertainty. Uncertainty, to me, is one of the top 10. It's such a huge component of what every single one of my patients faces into. And it's a topic that I hear almost every one of my women, every one of my patients facing into. And it's a topic that most individuals who are on the outside of this don't understand. And I want to thank one of my patients who gave me this analogy, which was so helpful for me. And hopefully it will give you, once again, a good visual. That it's like you're in a boat and you're out at sea. And your whole life, you're in this boat, you've been given a sail. And you know if you raise the sail, you catch the wind, the boat will take you along. If there's a certain amount of waves, you can manipulate the sail. You can shift the boat in a certain direction. And you can figure out how to get through what would be a storm. This uncertainty that you're probably experiencing is like a storm you've never experienced before. I notice that many of my patients, for them, the best way they could cope is over-researching, over-worrying, over-controlling, overdoing. If they can feel, if they could just be perfect in their diet, picking the right supplements, working out just the perfect way, that maybe this would change everything. And there's, the uncertainty, there's no guarantees. And then the boat gets tossed around within that uncertainty. And my patient said to me, she said, I learned really early on, I needed to just pull my sail down, tuck it away, and figure out a way to just ride out the waves. That sometimes having the sail up was so unhelpful. That uncertainty does not respond to the way I had coped in my normal life. And that I had to figure out in some ways that the boat was safe and the boat could ride out the waves, and I just needed to let the boat guide me through the worst of the storm. It's one of the hardest things in uncertainty, and please share with me in the comments. My patient said to me, the hardest thing was surrendering to this uncertainty. I didn't know what was going to happen, and on some level, I just had to surrender and give up. That there was nothing I could do. All I could do was show up. She was doing IVF. She's like, all I could do was show up, take my drugs. She's like, I showed up for acupuncture. I took my supplements. I did what I could, and then I knew there was nothing I could do to change what I was feeling within that uncertainty. In fact, one of my other patients, I talked to her about this boat analogy. She said to me, she would add to that. She said to me, sometimes I think having a bucket on the boat is a good idea. Because when you're going through the storm, your boat gets sloshed with a lot of water. And it's really helpful to be able to bail some of the water out. And she's like, I know my boat would never sink, but I don't want a lot of water in my boat. So I want to bail water out. So it's really good to have a bucket on the boat. And I think what she's trying to convey is that there are certain things, certain coping skills that each woman will need to be able to keep the boat in a certain type of positioning, a certain type of state, so that she can stay on the boat and ride out the storm. And that it's really important for you to figure out, what is that bucket? What do you need on the boat? Maybe you need a really nice TV set in the cabin below, so you can watch some TV while the storm is raging. Maybe you need a heated blanket to keep you warm. That there are going to be things that you will need on the boat to help you feel that the boat is going to be safe enough for you to stay on, to keep the long haul. Uncertainty can feel very unsafe. I share with you, as a woman who stays present to all the women, that I understand with all my heart it feels really unsafe, and I need you to know it is safe. And it's really key for you to find something to bring into your life, to your boat, that will help you feel safe and taken care of. Then in this uncertainty is surrendering control. That the storm is something you will be riding out in the boat. That the boat will keep you safe. That you will not have any control over the storm. That you will do your best. You've built a good, sturdy boat. That you have taken care of yourself. You've done the best you can for yourself. That letting go of that control is going to be part of what makes uncertainty so hard. Some of the things that I work with when I'm with my patients is that letting go of control is putting all the weight into what you can control. And knowing that you've done the best that you can within those components, and like diet and supplements, the acupuncture. If women enjoy working out, having a workout routine, being dedicated to doing IVF. I mean, I have patients who are dedicated to doing multiple rounds of IVF. If that's what you can control, then that's what you can control. Then moving into the uncertainty and knowing, you can't control anything more. And I recognize that part is mostly so unsettling to many of the women who come to me. Finally, uncertainty leads to never knowing when the journey is going to end and if it's going to end in success. And this is very weighty, wearing. It's quite profound. Many of my patients get really adept at putting it in a box and kind of pushing it away. And it's always there in the background, though. It never leaves you until you make that final decision that enough is enough, that I'm not pregnant, I'm going to walk away. Or you become pregnant and you finally do give birth. There is always this uncertainty, right, going on in the background. And sorry, ladies, my dog. There's this daily chronic tension of knowing that there's no reassurance. This uncertainty, nobody can wrap their arms around you and say that this is all going to be better. Nobody can do that. And that within itself is incredibly heart draining, soul draining. And it's, to me, part of the journey that is not well recognized. I share with you just recently, I had an experience speaking with a medical doctor about what I do with my fertility patients and how profound it is that what they go through. And I got poo-pooed with what they experience. Now, it wasn't a fertility doctor I was speaking with. It made me very keenly aware of how limited the awareness is. How important it is for women, for couples, to create a family, and how unaware society is of how profound these emotions are, and how long many women and couples go on this journey. And they don't get reassurance, and they don't get support. And they live with this for a long period of time. What do you think, ladies? Does any of this resonate with you? Please leave a comment. What is your experience? What are your thoughts on this topic? Do you have any analogies that you would want to share with other women? What have you done to help yourself cope through some of this? Please share. We need to add more voices to this topic. We need to move out into the world and help people understand that there is more to this topic than being silent. Is there a topic that you would want me to discuss? An emotional topic, a stressor that you went through? I would love to hear from you. If you liked this video, please hit like, subscribe. Please subscribe. Let's put some leverage to this. Let's put some voices to it. Infertility is a big topic. Let's get some leverage in YouTube. If you are looking for an acupuncturist in Connecticut or New York, I am treating patients. If you are looking for a fertility coach, I do virtual coaching across America. I am here for you. Reach out to me. And I appreciate you listening, and I'm going to be back for another video on hanging on to hope. Thank you for watching. Bye.